stress hurts, so I expect worse. That's why I'm waiting on the next hearse. But before I lay me down, let's get this off my chest first. Excerpt of my life, I call it my next verse. My chest is feeling heavy and my head hurts, but the Northwest keep me grounded like some bed skirts. I'm stressed, keep it in perspective, I'm an expert about this Northwest way of life, hey, it could end worse. Welcome back, everybody. This is episode number 4 of Raw Emotion, the new podcast where I talk about mental health. Today, I have a very special guest, my buddy Andrew from Canada. He's going to talk to me about his mental health history. We're going to talk about my mental health history, everything in between. One of the topics we're going to cover today is self-doubt. Now, being a musician and a performer, this really hits home for me. And he is also a music creator, and so it's something that he really wanted to talk about too. It's going to be some great content. I hope you guys enjoy. Thank you. Cool. So here we are. I'm here today with my good friend, Andrew.
That's me.
That is you. And we're
Real
going to...
name.
Yes.
Real talks.
Yes.
Too. Yeah.
We're going to get into some stuff. We're going to talk about a lot of things.
Yes. We'll talk about a few things, Ryan.
So we were just talking about social media a little bit and how self-doubt kind of creeps in to the situation even sometimes before you even are able to create anything to put out on social media. And I feel that way with Instagram. I have a hard time when hashtags were a big thing with Instagram. The algorithm isn't really like that anymore, but it would get to the point where I wouldn't even post anything on Instagram because I didn't want to put the wrong hashtags, or I didn't want to have to spend 3 minutes thinking of the hashtags to put in. And so it just stopped me from even posting on there. And that, like, it's crazy to think about the effects that social media has had on people's mental health.
I mean, the stigmatization of what mental health is stereotyped by in society, it makes us seem like we're people who are found damaged and emotionally unstable, and that's all through the internet now.
Yeah.
Everything is online. Everything is open, and I mean, we all have personas, but people try and be as real as they can as well with Facebook, with meeting people. But at the same time, you have trolls, and they make you feel like shit.
Yeah, totally.
And I mean, as a musician, for 8+ years now, I've had times when I've gone above and beyond to post content because I'm really proud of it and excited. And that creativity is why we do it. We do it because we love what we do, no matter what, whether it's music, whether it's photography, any content creator, right?
Mm-hmm.
We do it because we love it. And when you get that message or that comment that says, this sucks, or that's shit, why'd you do this, blah, 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 it makes you, I read that and I take it to heart. And a good friend of mine said, it's the internet. What do you expect?
Right.
And I look at that and I think, you know what, you're right. And we're supposed to build these walls, but
it's tough. It's hard because at the same time, it's the internet, and that's the tool that we're using to put ourselves out there for people to judge. But in our mind, we're like, I'm gonna put this out there and everyone's gonna love it and people are gonna fucking freak out about this and it's gonna all be positive. Yeah. But that in reality, that's not the case, and
yeah, exactly.
And then we're
excited about it because it's our creativity and our passion through what we do for a living to say, well, not for, I mean, for our career, what we want in life, mm-hmm. right? Our mm-hmm. aspiration. We're excited about it, and we want people to react the same way.
Yeah.
And for a while, I had this like Cloud9 because I was sending it to my friends, people who supported me, and they would just constantly send me back great news, and like nothing was critical. Nothing was able to be critiqued properly because it was always, yeah, this is awesome, dude. Really love this, really love that. It's like, what do you not like about it? Because I also want to improve.
Yeah.
But
Like
when you
there's
do
a
that with your
difference.
friends
Yeah.
forever, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
You get this like I can't even explain it. It's like this feeling that you're unstoppable, even though you have no wall. You know, it's like running without shoes on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's like running without thinking about like the fact that you may hit something
Right.
or damage yourself. And that's when you just constantly, go to your friends for advice. That's what I was doing. And it was not a great it was not a great call, cuz then the moment I was ready to release that content online, I got total shit for it.
Yeah, well,
Multiple
yeah, and
occasions.
I mean, and it's hard too because your friends, they love you, they care about you, and not aside from either the good or the bad feedback they will give you, they're happy for you, and so they want to
Yeah.
they want to show that to you, and I think that's kind of a slippery slope and I mean I have people that swear by my music, you know, and
Yeah.
like people in my personal life that just love it, and how come you haven't fucking, you know, done this yet, and
Mhm.
how come you're not fucking whatever huge, and it's like, well, I mean, you have a personal you have some personal feelings invested in me as a person, you know, and so it's different for you than it would be for, you know, whoever on the internet to see me in passing and see what I've put out there, and they, you know, it's a lot easier for people that don't know you to be honest with you,
Mhm.
but
Yeah.
that leads to vulnerability,
Yeah.
and
It
it's
certainly does.
yeah.
And being able to control it as well, and not taking a step backwards
Mm-hmm.
when you get that news that you didn't necessarily want, you know? Like I
Yeah.
mean, content creators alone have this this lingering self-doubt that never goes away.
Mm-hmm.
And you can ask any musician, like, I mean, that's what I do. I'm a musician. You can ask any musician. I'm a producer of 8+ years, and taking a break just, just sort of made it worse for me. And I wanted to learn how to admit the harm it caused, but like, and understanding the reasons for it, and I just want to try and move forward with a solution, but I still haven't found it yet.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough to see, and then you get on social media and you see people that you know, in the business or whatever, still going strong and still accomplishing these things, and
Hmm.
you're having to take a break from it, step back for a minute, and you think, how come I can't be like, how come, what's different between us that makes, that's how I feel sometimes, because I'll have surges in my music where I'll go really hard for a year or two, and then, um, you know, I have 5 kids and a wife and a full time job.
Yeah.
It's not sustainable, you know. And I think, what's wrong with me that I can't juggle all of this shit all the time like these people can, you know. But
Hey, that's a lot, man. You're putting a lot on your plate.
yeah,
5 kids,
yeah,
and a career, like a job you go to every day,
mm-hmm, yeah,
and your personal life on top of that, like with your wife, and with your, like, I mean, what you love doing every day and every night, and then your music,
uh
which is
huh.
also a part of that, right?
Yeah,
So having to balance and juggle all that.
and then you throw my mental health history on into there too, and
Yep.
it's a fucking mess, dude. You know. uh,
Yeah.
but I mean, that's what we're here to talk about, right?
Right.
And
Yeah.
I just, man, it's it sucks sometimes to feel like you don't live up to your own expectations,
Hmm.
where I see something in my mind, I see me as something completely different, and, you know, and then I'm like, then reality hits and I'm like, well, I guess that's not completely feasible for me to be that type of like person all the time, you know, but
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, although I've never been medicated or felt the need to talk to someone like a therapist,
mhm,
it doesn't mean that I don't fill the same shoes of anyone else who may have been treated for it,
right.
like yourself. Like I go through mental health problems. I mean, we all have with the way that COVID-19 just destroyed, friendships, careers,
Mhm.
our personalities.
It's yeah. It it,
it uh,
it throws
it
in a
really,
whole new variability or variable of how people feel that we didn't have to deal with before. And people are butting heads on things that were never in the picture. And so that's a whole new thing that we have to deal with.
yeah. I mean, I think often that stereotype again of mental health, like it makes us some of us feel wounded and simply untreatable. And not all the world speaks out to us that way. Like there are support, right? We get that support, and that support can be just from your friend, and it takes just that much to help us find our path again. Whether it's like a simple sending a text to your friend who you know is struggling and just asking how they're doing. For example, you did that to me last week. You messaged me and said, "Hey, I know you're going through some shit. How are you feeling?" You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like that alone made me feel like I was wanted or needed. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yes.
And the I think that is also something I struggle with is feeling that appreciation and that feeling accepted,
Mhm.
right?
I
And
think we all do, you know, to
yeah,
some degree.
I- so it comes down to like something as dumb as like a friend not talking to you for a while. Like I feel like, oh, I'm not appreciated because I hadn't gotten that text. But like again, you have to remember that I didn't text them, I didn't call them. But when I find out that they've done something behind my back, you know what I mean? I get jealous or upset,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And we fall victim to that struggle of jealousy and that lack of self-respect when we find something out that we didn't know from someone or something. So we need to teach ourselves to climb beyond the wall and know that it's perfectly acceptable to talk about this and share while not feeling displayed or judged, right?
Uh-huh.
And everyone has felt like this at one point in your life, no matter what percentage of damage it's caused. It's made us feel a certain way and it's indescribable. Like you and but that's okay. It's okay to feel that way. It makes us stronger because we can we learn, and this is what I was talking to you like, you know, off the pod, but we can befriend those voices in our head that try to hurt us,
Mhm.
right? Those voices, it sounds silly, but like making friends with that voice in your head is beneficial. Like resisting makes it get louder and louder and causes more emotional damage.
Right.
And the delivery is often unkind. That's all we see. We immediately react and we see this unkind image in our head, but the message is the entire point. I often like scold my wife who's German for the way she speaks to me because it's so direct, right?
Mhm.
And I don't expect it that way, right? I expect a bit of more of a courteous like, you know, conversation, right? Something that where you understand like my mental health and my how I would react to that. But again, like it comes down to I'm not seeing the whole point. I'm not seeing that like the delivery is really what's causing me to react,
Yes.
but the doubt isn't completely invalid. But we need to be better and learn how to fight that. And I needed to figure out, oh, I still need to listen to the message.
Yeah.
Regardless of
Yeah.
how it made me feel, I still need to listen to that. So like you get to choose how you measure your own success as well. And that comes like circles back to content creation. Make a goal that you think is the most important to you at the time. It doesn't have to be something crazy large. It can be as simple as, I want one successful TikTok. I want to try and make sure that I, you know, make friends with two or three streamers, and it's a simple goal. It could feel massive to you, or it could feel super small, but just targeting that, that's you remember that you get to choose that. In the end of the day, you make your own goal. And when you think that other people are creating those goals for you, and other things are creating that, it's it's going to end up in your head, and you're going to have that self-doubt. And that's kind of like how I wanted to circle that background,
Yeah,
really.
and I totally agree, and I feel like if we don't have goals, no matter how big or small they are,
Yeah.
it really makes whatever you're doing super overwhelming, because you
Yeah.
don't have that you don't have that light at the end of the tunnel that you're working for. You're just doing what you're doing with no regard for, like, okay, you're just hoping that something happens, and
Yeah. Yeah.
that's a big part of, I think, why people get depressed
You're
nowadays, is because they don't have nobody has goals. Everyone's living moment to moment on social media, and they just shit gets super overwhelming sometimes for people without them even knowing that they're doing it to themselves unintentionally by not setting those goals.
Yeah, you're
Or
absolutely correct. Often with content creation, we're waiting for something to happen,
mm-hmm,
right? We're
mm-hmm.
putting ourselves out there, and we're just waiting instead of moving on to that next piece of the puzzle. Because really, we should be letting that that piece of content deliver itself, and then start focusing on something fresh that makes us feel like we're still enabling that voice in our head that's saying, "Hey, let's keep going. Let's keep going." Like, that's what we want to do, right? And especially with content creation, like coming up with all these ideas, like it has to be on to the next one, on to the next one.
Mm-hmm.
But we still need to focus on that content that's out there, and we need to try and figure out how we can, like, pinch the algorithm to help us in
Yeah,
some
yep.
way. But I took a break from social media for a while. I deleted a bunch of Discord groups. I deleted Facebook off my phone. I barely post on Instagram or Twitter, anything. I needed a break because I felt like my mental health was like a huge struggle. And it was a struggle because of my online presence, and that I needed to take a break and step back from that and really focus on myself and my family. Most importantly, myself before my family, because I need to make sure I'm okay. I
If
need to
you're
make sure
not
that
a one on top of your game, you're not going to be able to take care of your family. So
that's just it.
yep,
Yeah.
yep,
Hmm.
yeah. I've done that too. I got I went through a point in my life where I was making some bad relationship decisions, and it got to the
Right.
point where I was projecting those things that I was doing wrong. I was projecting them onto my wife, and it and I got rid of my cell phone. I totally got rid of my phone. We didn't have a working phone. I
Wow.
had it for almost a year. I didn't have a fucking phone number. You know, like I
Hmm.
had to where I could like get, like, I had Wi-Fi. You know, I could watch YouTube and shit like when I was at home, but I didn't have a phone, and I just completely cut the whole outside communication off for a while and just focused on doing the right things and what I needed to do
And how did
to.
it feel?
It felt fucking great, you
Yeah.
know. And then
Yeah.
once we
That's
got
good.
to the point where I was like, I feel like I can I've covered enough ground and grown enough that I can get back on there,
Hmm.
and it felt good. But there's still times where I just want to, not, and not for the sake of not making a bad fucking choice or anything again, but back to that self-doubt thing. There's times where, I mean, I
Right.
have almost 5,000 friends on Facebook, and sometimes I want to delete the whole thing because I just don't want to have any part of it anymore.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to see other people succeeding where I'm not right now, or I
Because
don't
you're
want
in
to.
your own head
Yeah,
about it,
yep.
or yeah, I get that. I feel the same way sometimes, and that's why I got rid of it, or I unfollow the person that is causing harm to me, not in any like just mental harm,
Mhm.
like to myself, because I'm constantly comparing
Yeah.
myself, and that's part of self-doubt, is comparing yourself and not accepting who you really are, and um and feeling like people don't uh care and accept you, like that's all part of it.
Yep. Yep. And
um
I talked about it in the last episode of the podcast a little bit too, where it's a very slippery slope to judge and compare yourself against other people on social media, because it's simply that, it's social media, it's Instagram, there's filters, it's not real life. 90% of the
mhm.
time it's not. People put on a happy face, or they pretend that they're fucking living this fantastic life, and a lot of the time it just makes other people feel less of themselves the more you brag or say that I'm doing fucking great, and look at this, and look at my house, and look at blah 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 and shit. And it's like, that's, who cares, right? Who cares, really? It's gotten to the point where it's not. I don't think social media is helping anybody really, when it comes down to it,
Honestly,
like.
it's helping those who have already succeeded at it, I suppose, but again, you're
Right.
still going to have those trolls. You're still going to have those people that like specifically just make accounts to put you down, and that's all. The way that some of these content creators deal with that, and their self-doubt, and the everything that they're going through, I can't even imagine it. And that's why I don't really want to pursue content creation. Even though I am a content creator, I put it on hold until I can
Mm-hmm.
clear my head, because right now it's not healthy.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not. And it's exciting. It's so exciting to make content. It's so exciting to release it. It's so exciting to see people react to it. But again, it comes with that. And if you can't handle it, if you it comes like, I'll play devil's advocate. If you can't handle it, you shouldn't do it, right?
Yes.
You got to be able to handle the criticism.
Uh-huh.
But it's not just about like having thick skin. It's like it goes deep into your core of like, are you mentally okay with it? Can you get past it? And even though like I can read a comment and go, oh yeah, this guy didn't like it, or oh whatever, it's a terrible comment, that I need to, I've gotten past it and learned, oh, don't worry about it. There are more positives than negatives. Don't
Mm-hmm.
worry about it. Don't worry about it. And I'm telling myself this. But again, my walls
It
are
wants to
coming
suck you
down.
in, man. It wants to suck you in,
That's
and
exactly
you
it.
wanna engage in that argument, and you wanna tell him, no, this is why you're wrong and I'm right,
Yeah.
and yeah.
And you want to make that, you want to comment back. You want to be like, fuck you, man. Like, you want to say something
Mm-hmm.
like, that's, uh, it's just, that's how, that's how difficult it is for me right now, personally. And I know everyone goes through it, but it's as simple as, that's why I'm not uh ready to create content again. A lot of factors go into it. I'm also not in a position right now where I have the time to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I've focused my energy elsewhere. I've focused my energy into my family, into other avenues, my career, um, and those things are super important to me. So, and when I'm ready to jump back into content creation, I think I haven't done music in a very very long time, and I really need to get back into it. I had a friend message me just the other day and said, "Hey, when are you gonna write more music? When are you gonna write a song?"
Mm-hmm.
And I just replied within a second, "Never," and sent it.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
I got a reaction immediately, like, "Whoa, I can't believe you reacted that quickly to it. Like, are you okay?" I got the message. I'm not joking, Ryan. I got a message after that said, "Are you okay?" And I felt like when I sent the message back, I was like, yikes. I can't believe I just sent that
Yeah.
and didn't even think about it. And it really impacted me. And I kind of started thinking like, you know, if the invitation is there, maybe I should try and get myself back into it slowly, but not have any
I was
expectations,
just gonna say no expectations because
right?
I feel you, dude. 2019 I made an album. 2020 I made an album.
Hell yeah, dude.
But I had low expectations for the first one. I had super high expectations for the second one, and
Hmm.
when didn't it didn't it wasn't received the way that I anticipated it necessarily. Like it was very well received within my circle, right? But
Right.
it didn't gain the momentum that I thought it was going to. I haven't.
Hmm.
That's been 2 years, and I have a stack of beats, and I just haven't written to them. You know, because it's like,
Mm.
am I ready to put myself out there again? Um, Knowing that I once again might not live up to my own expectations. Like, and why am I? And then it's like, why set myself up for failure? You know, why have such
Hmm.
high expectations for myself, knowing that I'm 36 years old. I know that nobody's going to sign me to a label. I know I'm not going to get fucking rich and famous off of making music. I just genuinely enjoy it, and
Hmm.
that's been why I've done it for so long. But it got to the point where that self-doubt is just keeping me from
Yeah, it's
jumping back
lingering,
into
man.
it, you know,
Yeah.
and it sucks, dude. And I think about how many opportunities I have knowingly passed up because I've been scared that if I did
Hmm.
succeed, I wouldn't be able to handle it.
Now let me ask you this: why such the high expectation for this record in general? Is it because the quality was better for you? Is it because the content was better
I
or felt more
yeah,
stronger and powerful?
all of it. I just felt in my head. I just felt that my album, The Monster, was really gonna fucking like Portland is a really hard shell to crack,
Hmm.
and it's a very close knit community within the hip hop scene up there. And I'm an outsider, being more. I'm about an hour away from Portland. I didn't grow up there, and so I really wanted Portland to receive this fucking album,
Right.
you know, very
Yeah.
well, and it just didn't happen. And
Mm.
I think I held on to that. I got bitter
A
from
little
that
too
a
tight.
little too
Yeah.
much, you know.
Yep. I
And that sucks, dude. That I do
It
that to
happened to me.
myself.
It happened to me with my manager at the time. We we often crossed paths and bumped heads, and I I took what he said way too seriously, and uh and it really shouldn't have been. I mean, it's a career for him. You know, he's an actual manager.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, he's managed like records that have had Lenny Kravitz on it and Beyonce at times, and he deals with a smaller boutique artistry, I guess. But I was part of it. I was asked to join the roster, and this was like 4 years ago now,
Mm-hmm.
or 3 years ago. Oh God, I don't remember. 2018, yeah, 4 years ago. And I just I got caught up in his personality and attitude towards me and towards my career that I forgot about like what the whole point.
Yep.
And the whole point was my music. And like we agree, we have the same common ground. We both understand and respect the music. And I couldn't get over the reaction I was getting from him and how much I felt like I wasn't doing at the time and my capability, and that suffered, and it sort of punished me and my career, and I put it on hold. And
Mm-hmm.
then I got married, and then I was like excuse after excuse after excuse, and he was like, oh, do this, do that, do this. um he got my music on fucking I forget what kind of commercial, a Mercedes commercial, I think, or something like that at one point.
Wow.
And it just, like, I think I got a sweet like 1,000 euro off of it at one
Mm-hmm.
point, and I just couldn't get back into it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, he was trying the best he could. God bless him. Uh, I I just couldn't do the best for me. And again, uh, this is the problem with, you know, being. I also think it was that I procrastinate way too much over literally everything to do with my life,
Mm-hmm.
and that puts me in the doghouse a lot. And I think that it comes back to, even like, I procrastinate over everything, even to do with my family, my career, my job. Um, the only thing I don't procrastinate over is what I love doing, and
Yeah.
that's
Yep.
like going home and sitting on my computer and gaming,
Yeah.
or just like talking to my friends, like, because I care about that, and I put the effort and time into it, and I put a lot of money and time into this as a this as like a as a job, but it's not a job for me. It's fun and it's excitement, and I needed to learn how to like let go of, um because music was fun to me and exciting, and then it became a job, and then it hurt me more when it became a job,
Mm-hmm.
because there was this big expectation involved, and there was like the whole self-doubt thing that came with releasing music, and like making it feel like a career, and like playing shows, and um I did tour at one point, not with my solo project, but with other bands,
Mm-hmm.
and it just I want I think the reason why I put so much energy into gaming, and you know a computer in general, and building it, and being excited about, like, being on it every night, is that it's I know that nothing's ever going to come from it. I've stopped myself to a degree. I put it on hold. I put a halt on like how high I want to go, and I just want to have fun. And once you set your own boundary, your own guideline, like, and don't go above it, and don't boost over it, like, that's that's how you level yourself out. And I think that, like, that's how I leveled out in terms of just enjoying myself every night playing games, because I just knew I set an expectation, a very low expectation
Right.
for this, but yet I want to push myself in my career. But I need to know that when I get home, I'm not boosting everything I have and putting all my energy into gaming, because it's fun and it's just relaxing. And I needed to learn how to do that. And I need to learn how to do that with my music all over again.
Yeah. Yep.
And and then, until I'm confident enough that I want to release music, and I want to release it my way and not the label's way or my management's way, at the time I felt I was like useless. I felt like I didn't have enough say, and it's my music. You know what I mean? Like, I just that's the one thing about having, like, releasing music from a label, or not doing it yourself. I like doing it myself. But the last couple of tunes that I've done haven't been that way. So that kind of pushed me, and people will see that in a good way. Like, it's a good thing to have someone who can release your music for you, and to help you, and provide, and be there to support you. But it also causes, like, instability, like,
Yeah.
and 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 especially like with having control, like, you feel like you have less control. So anyways, that's something that I've been going through with music, and that's why I put it on hold. And I just need to be fun again, and exciting, and just like relaxing and enjoyable, the way gaming is for me now.
Yep.
And
I feel that for
I
sure.
mean, a lot of people will hear this and be like, gaming is fun for you? You yell and scream every night. But hey,
Well,
That's
and that's
I
because
mean,
we go
well,
into
well,
playing Warzone with we go into playing Call
well.
of Duty with an expectation that the game is good.
I mean,
And the game was good at some point, and
the
then
game was good at
and
one point. The game was fun and it was
mhm.
exciting and it was so fresh for everyone.
Dude, I played
Um,
every day for like a year and a half.
yeah,
I didn't miss a day. I would come
yeah.
home and before I take my work boots off, I'd get a quick game in with some randoms
Dude,
on
yeah, I
Rebirth. You
remember
know,
you telling me that. I
like
remember you telling me that.
man, get that itch gone from being away from it all day, and then go inside, take a shower, do what I gotta do with the family, and then come back out here. You know, like every second that I
Yeah.
had spare time away from my obligation with the family or the kids or work, I was on Call of Duty, and that's probably not that's probably not a healthy thing to do. You know?
Well, let me ask you this. Let me let me interview you now.
Okay.
How did that impact you? Do you think that that impacted your mental health? Being online gaming every night, or did it help you? Did it make you
So
feel like the way that I explain gaming and how fun it is, and I had like no expectation for
hmm
it. Do you know what I mean? Like a very low
yeah.
expectation. I set it. Is that how you feel about it? Like, how's it work for you?
It was fun at first, but
What
it
changed? Like
I
what changed for you? When did it change?
I think I got sucked into trying to, like, for instance, the camo grinds. It wasn't just getting on and being having fun anymore. It was like I have an hour, my wife's at the store, I have an hour before dinner. I need to go out here and knock some camos out.
I need to get
I need
these
to
launchers
yep,
gold.
I need to
Yeah,
do
yeah,
this, I need to do
yeah.
that. I need to get to 200 wins on Rebirth. I need to catch up to whoever's ahead of me at the time and wins. I need to do this. If I miss one day, I'm going to fall behind in my own goal, in my own expectations for how I'm going
Y-
to fucking keep
Yeah.
going with this, and it became work, dude. And then the fact that the the game isn't always in a great state.
Mm-hmm.
It sucks to play sometimes. And when I was going through getting off my antidepressants and having some less than stellar mental integrity, I felt that the game just made it worse.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had to take a step back recently, you know, a little bit, and it's crazy. It's crazy that something as simple as a game that I would come to for enjoyment became
Mm-hmm.
something so different than
Totally.
than what it started
Yeah.
out as for me, you know.
Now, does I mean, you don't strike me like the jealous type person or like that type of person to react this way, but in a situation where just say you're grinding camos and your friends have surpassed that, is that something that pulls you away from it?
No, oh
Um,
no.
it's something
It
that like
just it'll shoot me right back into it, and
right.
I gotta fucking be better than this guy. I gotta I maybe
Hmm.
I'm slipping, maybe I'm,
You
you
put more
know.
time in. You fucking
Uh-huh.
spend the extra 2 3 hours after everyone goes to
Mhm.
bed, and you
Mhm.
grind. Yeah, okay, cool.
And
I'm the
that's
opposite.
yeah.
When something gets a little too um, out of reach, I slip away and I fall back,
Mhm.
and that's on me. That's me, right? That's just my personality, and something that maybe
But that's
who
good
knows
though.
will
That's
never
good though,
change.
because why?
No, but
Why
it's
do
like
I
me
need
giving
to
up
not?
though,
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
right? Like in a way, it's me giving up and slipping away because I know it's out of reach, even though it is. It's totally there. I just need to grab it. But like I'm giving up, right?
hmm
Like I see what you're saying. It's good to like let to know when to like stop,
For
but at the
something
same
that we're
time, like
just strictly enjoyment, like it's just a game, you know. We're just having like it's good that you
yeah,
can fucking make that distinction like that. Like I just need to get away, you know. And
yeah.
it's
Well, when I need to, I do it, and I feel so much better about it. And like going back, and I think we played Call of Duty the other night. Like I had a terrible time.
mm-hmm.
I was like I was awful. I had no idea what I was doing. I was lost. I was switching inputs because I was playing in keyboard and mouse, and then I would switch over to Call of Duty and play on a controller, and I was just lost, man. I had no idea what I was doing, and it was fun to play with the guys. it's always fun.
Right.
No, regardless of how like upset we are, or how we feel that day, or how drunk we are, like it's all fun still. It's fun to play with people. It's fun to feel accepted and wanted. It's exciting to feel that way.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we do it. We play with each other, we game with each other because we have that in common. And we also have that acceptance in common. We want to feel that way,
So,
right?
do you think this is? Do you think that that's a as far as feeling like me feeling the pressure of not being as good or falling behind with my peers? Do you think that's a regular thing that people experience in their like hobbies and shit like all the time?
Absolutely, all the time. But do people feel like you, like what you mentioned previously when you said that makes me rocket up? That makes me push to the extreme and set your expectations so much higher, knowing that your friends are at this state. I want to get there. Not a lot of people feel like that.
Yeah.
I could speak for a portion of, you know, this world when I say that not a lot of people feel that way. A lot of people will give up or feel like they're just not stable enough to get there. And that's I don't know, that's how I see that. So
It's
it's hard. It's tough
yeah.
to do that.
And it's weird because I wouldn't I feel like I'm like that in most things, but I don't know. I don't know if that would translate to every aspect of my life
Mm.
necessarily. Like I think I might be like you sometimes where if I get to the point like I love to make music, but I feel like the pressure sometimes ruins it for me and it makes me step away.
Yeah. Yeah, you just let go,
Yeah.
temporarily.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
always a permanent let go. Like I'm never going to permanently let go of music. I'll go back to it when I'm
Mhm.
ready and comfortable and happy with like how I feel about myself. But again, it comes down to like my personal life is super important to me, my family life and like my career, and I need to get those in order first,
Yeah.
right? So,
Knowing what you know now about your music, like knowing being who you are now in music and learning the things that you've learned, do you ever wish you could go back and start over?
um
Or are you
no, I
just
feel like everything happens for a reason, and
mhm
life has led me here for a reason, and maybe that reason was um to 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 let go of music and to focus on my family and eventually pick up gaming
mhm
and meet a bunch of friends like similar to you, like just like you. How I wouldn't have met you if I continued music. I mean, who knows? In another life maybe, but like you and I don't write the same music.
right
We're not even like from the same country. So
right
like you, how could you say that I would stumble upon you without even knowing about, Discord or gaming, right?
mhm
But we met up for a reason, and I honestly I think it's as silly and corny as it sounds, everything happens for a reason. And um I think that, you know life led me here, and life led me here to my wife and to my son and my, future daughter and my family and where I live for a reason.
mhm
And I just have to accept that, and I've already accepted it. And that means that I've accepted that my music isn't the foreground anymore. It isn't the main attraction, the main, career for me. And it's something I love, and I will always continue to do it. Like I was explaining earlier, I will always want to write music,
mhm.
but right now isn't the time for me. Right now isn't the time. And it's not like, with the whole topic of self doubt, it's not because of just that. It has a lot to do with my mental health with in other avenues. And right now I need to focus on my family, and I need to focus on figuring out what I want to do with my life. And like I've messaged you before and been like, dude, I'm lost. I don't
Mhm.
know what I want to do. I have a career. I just got a promotion. I'm doing things for myself and my family finally that I've never been able to do before. Yet I still feel fucking lost. Totally lost. but that's okay. It's okay to feel lost. It's okay to feel like you're still trying to figure it out,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And that's like you can fall victim of that all the time. It's just a matter of how you pursue getting back up, right? So,
And is that so? That's kind of when you feel lost like that. What's it's hard to
when
get
I
out
feel
of that
lost,
mind
dude,
state.
yeah.
So how do you cope with that feeling? I mean, do you have a fucking like a certain like
I have, you know what it comes down to? It comes down to I have these outlets in terms of like I got a PC, a gaming PC with games I love playing
mm-hmm.
that aren't Call of Duty, obviously, because that game just makes me want to, you know,
Well,
set the grass on
it
fire.
raises my
Uh,
blood pressure.
yeah, yeah. I I have outlets, the things, the videos, people that I talk to that just like make me feel better,
Mm-hmm.
right? That put me back on track. My family, my mom and dad, who I, I'm grateful enough to be able to call and see every day. And, not a lot of people can do that. Some people don't have their parents anymore. Some people have their parents live so far away. Like my brother lives, 14 hours, a 14-hour drive away.
Yeah.
So they don't see him often. They're actually going next week to see him, which is nice because they're finally going to meet their grandson.
Oh, that's
So,
awesome. Dude,
but
that's
yeah,
huge that you have identified those those things though. Like you've identified the fact that when I feel that way,
yeah,
there's certain things that I need to do to get myself back, not necessarily back on
the
track,
help I
but
need. Yeah.
yes, exactly. You need to
But,
like there's positive avenues that you try to
but sometimes when you need the help the most, it isn't necessarily always going to be there for you. Like there's always factors that get in the way. Like if I wasn't feeling well and I call my folks and they don't pick up because they're busy doing something, like
mhm
that's going to happen.
mhm
Or if I go to play a video game and I'm just having a terrible time and I thought it would raise my mood and make me feel better, that sometimes happens, you know? Or, something happens with like, I break a dish in the house. Like that causes so much confusion and conflict with my wife getting upset at me, and then I feel like I want to do something. I want to be able to, you know, find the proper outlet, and it doesn't always. There are factors that get in the way, but we need to stay positive and
mhm.
know that we all need to find that thing that makes us feel happy again,
Right.
right?
Yep. and
So,
and that's and that's huge, and not and everybody's going to be different, and everybody's going to have different things that help them to get to that next point that they're trying to get to, or just get through the day or get through the hour or whatever you're having trouble with, and it's
mhm.
it's so good to just recognize those things and be able to say it's okay to reach out to someone right now. It's okay to recognize the fact that I am struggling and it's not going to be permanent. I can get through this. I just need to know what works for me.
Yeah, totally. I mean, you asked me mine. Maybe I get a chance to ask you what your outlets are, how what makes you feel better.
Uh for a long time, well, I mean still to this day, but there was a period in my life some years back where my youngest son was, if I was starting to feel like I was, maybe a panic attack was coming on, or I was really down or bummed out, I went to him. I went to my kid. He was probably 2 or 3 at the time, but just being around him and knowing that no matter what I was going through at that time, his whole life was based on me and my wife, you know? And
Yeah.
so like
Yeah.
just knowing that like I can put my shit aside for a minute and just be there with him and for him, and I would just get sucked into whatever he was doing or whatever he was playing with, and it kind of just puts everything into perspective and makes you realize that there's more to come, you know.
Totally.
There's gonna be more, there's gonna be more good times and bad times, but this isn't the end all situation. And
Now,
so
did it
like,
make you feel nostalgic? Did it make you feel like you're a child again? Like, is that why you cling to that, your son as that, like, you know, that just that peace, that positivity?
I mean, I think part of it is that, yeah, just because, you know, when we were kids, when you're that age, you don't have the stress and the fear
No,
and the
man, you
doubt
don't.
and
You
all of
really
that
don't.
shit. And
I mean,
it just breaks, you're just in there playing with
yeah,
blocks, you know, or doing whatever, and that's all he knows. That's his Call of Duty, that's his you know, music, that's his everything right
yeah,
there, is just the little toys that you got. And so it just really puts
yeah.
everything in perspective.
Yeah, man. My action figures were my thing, or Playmobil back in the day, or
Mm-hmm.
my. I used to like value these certain objective things so much, and like I remember taking such good care of them too, because I wanted to prolong the life of whatever it was,
Mm-hmm.
whatever that object was, and it you really learn to appreciate something um so much at such a young age. And that's I and then going back and seeing the way my son like carries his favorite toy around like that, it get it really creates a flashback for me, and
Mm-hmm.
it makes me think like, you know what, there is, I have these things to this day that make me feel like special just having them. You know, just
Right.
walking downstairs. Like we've all had these talks. Like we all bought PCs in the last 2 years because of COVID
Mm-hmm.
and being sat at home. We all like come down and like, do you treat your computer the same way I do? Like when you walk in, and you just go, oh fuck, I can't believe I have this
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
And you know, like I never take it for granted. And I turn it on, and I always clean it and I dust it like I often, and I just I always like I've got a way of handling my entire space because I'm so proud of it and I'm so excited that I've finally say I saved for like 2-3 years for a PC as
Right.
well.
Right.
Um, and it's created like such a great atmosphere for me, and now finally like I'm also working from home now too, so um
And
I
that's
needed
awesome. Yeah.
something.
And so you have that fucking, that healthy space, right?
It's
It's
exactly, and it feels good, and it makes me work so much better and more diligently because I'm able to feel good about my workspace, right?
mm-hmm.
And that's like, and that's what's so tough about having to work from home with a lot of people now is like finding that great work environment and that space that makes you feel good and work the way that you should, right? So
Yeah.
but yeah, going back to um you know, the value of little things, like kids teach you that all over again, and when you lose sight of that, they're there without knowing, without intention,
Mm-hmm.
they're there to show you that, right? And that's what your son does for you, and that's like why it's so exciting to you, and that's what you like kind of cling to when you need that support, is because of that value and that respect and that amount of knowledge that this kid doesn't even know he has yet,
Yeah,
right?
right, right.
So
Like man, like I'm freaking out and I'm spiraling in my own mind, and I have all this panic and fear and doubt and all this shit, and then there he is, and he's just playing with his toy, and it's like, oh, there's dad, and it's like he's not. If even if I wanted to try to unload what's going on in my mind to him, he doesn't know what any of that shit is. He just
mhm,
knows that I am here for him, and so that it really
yeah,
just, you get lost in that in a good way, you know. And so That's the main. And then the other thing that is an outlet for me is just being around a basketball hoop for some reason.
Nice.
Not even if I just sit there with the ball and not even play, just to be there by a hoop with a ball. That's my safe zone. That's my peaceful spot. That's where nothing else in the world could bother me, or no matter what, like, and I'm sure that everyone has some sort of some sort of thing like that, or if they don't, like, that's kind of a tragedy that some people like don't have that or haven't recognized that safe place for them yet. But that's something else that's really huge for people to do, is just try to find that outlet where you don't necessarily need the reaction of or the input of other people to pull you out of that dark spot that you're in.
Yeah. Exactly.
Um,
Damn.
yeah, like it's. Do you have something like that? Like, besides like reaching out to family, or I mean, other than your PC and your work area
I mean,
and.
yeah, I do. I have one other thing that just makes me stop everything entirely, and um, it's just honestly just sitting on the couch with my wife makes me feel safe,
Mm-hmm.
and watching one of our favorite shows,
Mm-hmm.
or having that, like we don't always watch TV together, but when we do and we have something we both enjoy and you're excited about, and you get to share that, um that and going to a restaurant and eating our favorite food together, because we're foodies. We love food, and we love like sharing that together,
Mm-hmm.
and that's something that I want to go to, but it's so situational, right? Like, you can't always just go to that. My wife isn't always going to sit on the couch every night.
Right.
My wife isn't always going to go want to go and have dinner with me at a restaurant, right? It's situational. um but I always have my friends, and that's something that I know I always have, and that I can always go to, and I know that I always have my family. So that's why when I have to, those are my go-tos, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I don't have anything else that I can think of other than, like, you know, uh, having these, because, like, just having these moments with your significant other, right? Those are the special ones, the ones where you can. That's the reason that's the reason you married them,
Mm-hmm.
is because they make you feel safe and comfortable, and you just have this, like, you're thinking of the same thing. Like, often my wife and I are thinking the exact same thing,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
and it's so special and it's so rewarding, like, to each other, uh, like, and it makes us just feel like we belong, like we're accepted, and that's a big thing of, um why I deleted a bunch of social media and fell back a bit, because I just felt like I wasn't being accepted, and I didn't go to my support systems,
Right.
right? I didn't go there. I kind of, before it got out of hand, I didn't contact them, and that's why I was unstable, and I made the decision to like just slowly step back.
Yep, and that's
And
such a big thing, is to recognize that you need to talk or reach out, or use your
yeah.
support systems before you get to the point where you are
Hmm.
out, where it's out of hand.
Oh,
That's
a lot of it's
huge.
you thinking that you can handle it, right? Like, you thinking that you're stronger than you are.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the time that's how
It's
I,
yeah,
perceived it, or how I stood. So,
and then also trying to get that acceptance from too many people is kind of dangerous as well, because um, I mean, at the end of the day, we are all our own. We're the hero in our own story. Like, I'm not gonna have some random dude on Facebook's not, he's not the hero in my story. Like, I'm not gonna put the level of care and attention necessary. Like, I'm not gonna give him more than I give myself, and so I
Mhm.
shouldn't expect others to hold me in higher regard than they, you know what I mean? Like, it's
Yeah.
you're searching for, like, I feel like sometimes that's how I feel on social media is I want everybody to just drop what they're doing and talk about what I'm doing and comment on my shit, and I'm the fuck, like, how come I don't have 1,000 shares on this thing? Like, I said this, look at this, isn't this great? Like, it's like, no, people don't care. Like, you need to keep the support system small and keep it tight, and you need to fucking, people need to lean on that way more than they do now, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally. Absolutely. Whew. It's a lot.
Yeah, yeah. Um, do you we've talked for an hour. It's been awesome. Do you have anything else that you want to speak on, or I mean, I think I don't want to venture too far off from
Yeah. The topic.
topic of
Yeah.
self-doubt. I mean, we could talk about so much. I'm sure me and you could sit here
We
for
could.
5 hours and talk about shit.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. It could just be another episode at this point,
yeah,
but
yeah.
I definitely want to speak it on in future. Maybe if you'd have me back, I'd
Mhm.
love to speak on um, mental health versus sleep. So,
Yes.
um,
Yes.
and
Like,
does sleep
yeah.
affect mental health?
Yes.
Tune in next time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I feel
Yeah.
like there's a lot of things that I wanted to ask you about, with just the basic history of your mental health and how you feel about it and how you perceive mental health and
Hmm.
stuff like
Yeah.
that. But when you said self-doubt, man, I relate to that so much that I just
Yep.
felt like that's what we needed to talk about.
And I kind of just knew you would
Mhm.
because you're a content creator
Mhm.
and you take it very seriously and you care about it. You care about the outcome. You care about um the how it's perceived and looked. Like you and you put effort into that too, like and I can tell based on how you release your music, how much you care about your stats in Call of Duty. Like it's something so simple,
Right.
and it's not dumb to care about your stats. It's not dumb to feel that way. It's a goal for you. It's a personal goal for you,
Mhm.
and that's important. It's important for you to like be able to strive for that and set that expectation and that goal, and that's I can see that that's you know someone how you bring yourself up.
Yeah.
So I could see that, and I figured, what,
But yeah, and then on
talking
the
about
other
self
half,
doubt,
on the other half
content
of being
creation.
proud about my stats is being
Hard on yourself.
yes, yes,
Yeah. Yeah.
and being like vulnerable towards the fact that I might not live up to my own expectations. And so I
Oh,
I think the
I
more I think the more that people are aware to not hold too much pressure on themselves.
like a hierarchy. Yeah,
Mhm.
hold themselves to a hierarchy.
Mhm.
And that's just what it is. I do that to myself. Like you know, I often do that, and that's why I don't look at or try and care about my stats, because I get in my own head when I look at. And it's the same thing with content creation. You look at the amount of plays you have. You think a song will do better, or you think that you were to perform better that night in playing games, and you look at that, and it doesn't help. It doesn't help me, at least. It doesn't help me strive, because I'm sort of like, we discussed this earlier, but I'm sort of the almost the opposite reaction for you, because you strive to push yourself and push until you get, like, you went from a what point something KD to a 1.0 in Rebirth. Like that's insane. It takes so much motivation, energy,
Yeah.
and like commitment to do that. And meanwhile, if I start to slip, I let go. And that's
Right.
what I've done with pretty much everything in my life, right?
Right.
So that's
Yeah.
where it comes down to, like, standing my ground, learning from my mistakes, accepting and admitting to what I've become, and fixing it.
Mhm. Yeah.
So,
That's huge. Yeah. Yeah. accepting the fact that we're not all perfect is a big thing too.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
Well, man, it's been a pleasure. I
Yeah,
really,
thanks.
really
Thank you for
appreciate
having
you.
me.
Yeah, I really appreciate you
Mhm.
coming on and opening up and talking to me for a little bit over an hour. This is definitely
Nice.
going to be
Yeah.
my longest episode so far, but
Well,
that's
I appreciate your podcast and what your the message you send, and it's important to talk about it. And I think that this is really gonna I think this is gonna really push for you and bring you to where I think I don't know, a good place for you.
yeah,
I'm hoping.
yep. I feel good about it too. I feel like it's I'm finally doing something that's not completely for myself, you know? And I feel like it's gonna be good. It's gonna be okay. You know?
Yeah, totally.
Cool, man. Well, I guess that's it for this episode, guys. Again, thank you to Andrew for being on here. This was a great conversation, and I hope you guys can find something in here that you can take away and just try to be healthier mentally, because it's super important. We don't talk about it enough, and that's basically what the goal is here, is to just push the conversation that mental health is a normal thing to talk about, and it's really an important part of our life that we need to keep pushing for. So appreciate all you guys for watching, and I will see you guys next time.